You'll be storing it in a container that is capable of storing 5 kgs of rice. Similarly, if you bring 23 liters of water home, you'll store it in a can which is capable of storing 23 liters of water. Similarly, variables in Python are of different types. They are designed to store a particular kind of thing. Now, what this thing is something that we talk about in this course. Comments in Python, on the other hand, is something that we want a Python script to completely ignore. Now, what does that mean? For example, I tear a paper from my newspaper sheet and I write something on that and give it to you. Now, if I give it to you, then you know that you have to ignore something that was already printed on the paper, because you know that I have written something using my pen and given it to you for you to read whatever I have written. But computers are not that smart. You have to give an exact instruction to the computer for it to execute it correctly. If you give something more or something less, everything will break. Comment is something that we write inside a Python script and we want a Python program to completely ignore, which means that we want to write something for human programmers that humans can read and we want our machines to ignore. What does this mean? How does it work in action? Let's go to a computer screen and get started. So guys, as you can see, I have my Visual Studio Code open and I will be walking you through what variables are and what comments in Python are. Guys, so far we have only written a hello world statement inside our Python script. I'm going to be opening a new Python script and I'm going to be naming it as tutorial2.py, and we'll do more than just writing hello world in this video. Now, what I'll be doing is I'm going to be writing print and I'll say this is, this is tutorial, tutorial 2, and I'm going to be writing print this is tutorial 2, and if I run this, you'll see that I'm getting an error, right? It's saying that what have you written? I don't know about this. So we have some rules in Python. Whatever you are writing inside a Python script has to be valid Python code, and if it is not, you will get an error. For example, the second line is not a valid Python statement because anything you write inside print statement and you want to see it literally like this, you have to enclose it inside double quotes. I haven't done this in the second statement, which is why I got an error. So in order to solve this error, I have two options. I can either remove this line, which is very obvious, and I will be able to run my Python program successfully. As you can see, I have this is tutorial 2 as the output. Another option for me is to comment this line. Now you'll say, how did I do that? I pressed Control and / together to toggle this line as comment. Now you might be thinking, what is this pound symbol? Pound symbol in Python is used to tell your Python interpreter that you do not want this line to be executed. You do not want Python interpreter to pass this line. If I run this program once again, you'll see this is tutorial 2 is printed here and I do not get an error. On the other hand, if I uncomment this and save this file again and run this again, you'll see this is tutorial 2 written here and a syntax error, invalid syntax is thrown by the Python interpreter. You can also add this pound symbol manually and save, and this will also work as expected and you will not get an error. Now you can write something like this. This is a Python tutorial. For example, I want to say that this is Python tutorial 2 on variables and comments, and there is a possibility that I'll get an error after writing this. So in order to get rid of the error, I will add a pound symbol to tell my Python interpreter that I want to add this line for other fellow programmers, and I don't want you, Python interpreter, I don't want you to execute this line. I want you to focus on the lines which do not have this pound symbol and ignore the lines with pound symbol altogether. I can also do something like this. This is also a comment. And if I save and run this file, you will see that I do not get an error. Again, if you want to add more lines, you can always do something like this. This is a multi-line comment. And if I save it and if I type triple single quotes here and once again I type another triple single quote here, you can see that I have enclosed from line number 3 to line number 7 in triple single quotes. This means that I want to write a multi-line comment and my script will once again go through because there is no error. This means that from line number 3 to line number 7, anything you are writing is ignored by the Python interpreter. Now, if you want to write multi-line comment using pound symbol, you can always select those lines and press Ctrl +/ on your computer. This will also work, but again, you can also use this one. This is a matter of choice, and I leave that upon you. This is how comments work in Python. And whatever you write as comment will be ignored by the Python interpreter. Coming to the variables now, it is very important part of Python course. So you have to listen very carefully now. So I'm using a comment here and I'll be using Ctrl/ to write comments. Also, I'll say comments in Python. So this is more like heading. And I'll give a space after, in fact, I'll not give any space after heading, I'll give a colon. Also, I'll give a colon after this, and by the way, I'll be using my comment feature from this Python to give you some notes inside the script. Talking about a very good example of comment, I'll be writing comments throughout the script to make sure that you learn well and you learn everything that I'm telling you throughout this course. Now, let us say I write a is equal to 34. Once again, if you're coming from C or C++ or Java, there is no semicolon in Python. We have something called indentation, which we are going to talk about very soon. But again, you don't have any semicolon in Python. Now, if I write a is equal to 34, 34 is saved inside the variable a. And if I say b is equal to 45 and I save, b is now having the value 45. Now if I say print a and I save this script and run this script, you will see that we have this is tutorial 2 as well as 34 printed on the terminal. Now again, if you say a comma b prints